Hello, everyone. I'm Lance.
And I'm Chris.
And this is the first episode of the 90s Nuts podcast. I started the 90s Nut a couple years ago and did a few episodes on my own, but kind of took a break away. But now I'm getting back into the swing of things and figured it'd be a good idea to do this with other people. And Chris is one of my best friends. We've known each other for a long time, since kindergarten. So that was like over almost 35 years now, which is crazy to think about. But yeah, we have had a lot of the same experiences together when it comes to the 90s. And we decided that we were going to do this together. And Chris, what is our first episode going to be about today?
It's going to be about SNICK, short
Yep.
for Saturday Night Nickelodeon.
No other night. Tonight. No other place. Here. No way to stop it. SNICK.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome.
You are now sneaking. You are now sneaking. You are now sneaking.
Yep. So, guys, we are going to be doing SNICK today. And before I get into this, I do want to let you guys know that you guys can follow us on X at 90s Nuts Podcast. You can also email us at, let me actually find the email. Of course, I wasn't prepared. I didn't have it up because I just created the email today. But
Typical Lance,
shut
by the way.
Shut. So yeah, you can just reach us at 90snutspodcast at gmail.com. 90snutspodcast at gmail.com. And as Michael Keaton would say in Batman,
Now you want to get nuts? Come on, let's get nuts.
so let's get 90s nuts. All right. So, we're, like Chris said, we are doing SNICK. We're going to be talking about SNICK, Saturday Night Nickelodeon, which was a big thing for us kids back in the day. Actually, it's kind of funny because it started in 92, around the time that me and you met each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's kind of funny that kind of goes with that. So, Chris, let me know. Tell me some of your memories about SNICK and what SNICK means to you.
Well, a good friend of mine that I've known for a long time, like I've known you, I've known her since she was born, actually. They would come over on Saturday nights, and we would sit on my big orange couch, and as you know, it's the SNICK logo. And we just watch it, and we had Are You Afraid of the Dark, and we'd, hug each other when we were scared and just watch, TV together. And that's kind of what we bonded over.
I definitely remember the couch. And what the cool thing is that I always felt like this kind of connection to Nickelodeon because orange is my favorite color. And I've always wanted to have an orange couch like that. I did have, you probably remember the orange couch that I had, but it was more dark.
Yeah.
Kind of like an orange brown. But the orange couch that they had back then was always cool. For me, it was usually if I wasn't at a friend's house on a Saturday night, I would be watching SNICK. Sometimes we would watch it at the friend's house when we were playing video games or anything like that. But I equate it with just enjoying the weekend, popcorn, pizza, snacks, that kind of thing. And it was always pretty enjoyable. So we're going to go through a brief history, and then I'm going to go through some of the lineups. And then me and Chris are going to rank our top 4 SNICK shows just because there were 4 time slots. Actually, no, let's just do 5. We were talking about 5, so we might as well do 5. And then we are going to do our dream SNICK lineup. Does that sound good?
Sounds good to me.
All right. So a brief history of SNICK. And this is coming off of Wikipedia. At the time of SNICK's creation, traditional networks such as ABC, NBC, and CBS did not have a specific programming block for younger viewers on Saturday nights. The consensus at the time was that viewers who were 50 years of age or older were the only ones watching available, since younger viewers traditionally went out on Saturday nights, like teenagers, stuff like that. And this would explain why shows such as the Golden Girls and Empty Nest were the most predominant shows on Saturday nights at the time. But previously, Nickelodeon had Saturday night time slots to older sitcoms from Nick at Night. And eventually we'll talk about Nick at Night in a future episode. I do feel like Nick at Night back in the day was a lot better than it is now.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
because it's funny to think about, because when we were kids growing up in the 90s, a lot of the shows on Nick at Night were primarily from the 50s or 60s or the 70s and sometimes the 80s as we got older. But now it just seems like Nick at Night now it's just for like current shows. Like, you know, today's generation is just like, oh, what's on Nick at Night? Young Sheldon. And it's like, that's like a current series, isn't it? Or Friends. Well, I mean, that was still 90s, but like, I mean, it's like,
well, Young Sheldon just ended not too long ago.
well, yeah, that's true. But still, like, when they started premiering it, it was still fresh on the air.
Yes.
You know, it was a little bit different when we were kids, when you would have, like, Dragnet or I Dream of Jeannie or...
Bewitched.
Bewitched, yeah. Or, do you remember Alfred Hitchcock Presents?
I loved Alfred.
Yeah, that was a cool show. That was another anthology show I thought was pretty cool. And then even some of, like, the older, like, well, not, like... the shows that came out like in the 70s, like I liked, like, you know, Mary Tyler Moore, both of the Bob Newhart shows,
yes,
like the regular one, and then the one with the bed and breakfast.
Yes, those
you remember
were good.
That one?
Those were good.
Yeah, those were good too. And then of course, some of the other ones like Welcome Back, Kotter, or Taxi. Taxi was always a favorite of mine. But yeah. So what ended up happening is that the president of Nickelodeon at the time, Geraldine Laybourne, who is well regarded as the person that kind of kicked off Nick to be like as big as it is in the 90s, she wanted to create this block for you know, young teens and older kids that weren't able to go out, and so they came up with SNICK. But yeah, SNICK was always enjoyable. I always liked the logo with the black, I don't know if it was gray, like it was like black lettering for the S, the I, the K, and then it was like a purple or like a grayish background for the N and the C, and it was just like really cool. And of course, the big orange couch, that made sense because orange was Nickelodeon's thing, and that's really what grabbed everyone's attention from that. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go through some of the lineups, and this is actually taken from the Nickelodeon fandom page. So I'm going to go through the shows and then do a little brief synopsis of them. So from August 15th, 1992 to October 1st of 1994, the lineup consisted of the following, and I'll list off the names of the shows and then list off the synopsises of them. Clarissa Explains It All, which was a show about a teenage girl and her life with her family and everything that's going on with her. Melissa Joan Hart, breaking the fourth wall a lot. After that was Roundhouse, which was a nice variety show that took place on a soundstage. Very cool.
And it was live.
Yeah, it was live, yeah. I mean, they taped it live, which was nice. So it was like your traditional kind of like sitcom, just taped. Ren and Stimpy show. Of course, I mean, I don't think people need to Ren and Stimpy. It was a very unique kind of humor to it, very gross out humor about a cat and a dog. And then Are You Afraid of the Dark? Clarissa Explains It All for me was a cool show. I liked it. I don't know, it kind of, for some odd reason, it had like a very, like a funnier kind of vibe to it, like more funny than like Full House, but it kind of definitely had that kind of like vibe to it. What about you? How did you feel about Clarissa?
Well, I always liked Clarissa.
Mm-hmm.
Mainly because I had a huge crush on Melissa Joan Hart,
Mm-hmm.
but that's a story for another day.
Yeah.
Sorry.
You're fine.
Sam coming through the window all the time.
Yeah.
That was the best part.
Yes, I always love the sound that it
Yeah.
makes you. My
That
sister,
guitar riff.
yeah, me and my sister would describe it as the Gwen noise because whenever you heard it, it just sounded like someone was saying Gwen. Like it was just so funny.
Yeah. He just couldn't use the front door for some reason.
And there's a little asshole Ferguson.
Yeah. Oh, Ferguson. I could not stand that kid.
Yeah, exactly.
But I was a Clarissa fan.
Yeah.
I liked it a lot.
I liked her style. I always thought that was really cool. She had a very unique style. She was
Yeah,
like
she
a
did.
girly girl. But yeah, Clarissa Explains It All was always fun. And then, of course, you and I will both talk about Roundhouse
Oh my
all
God,
day.
Roundhouse.
Yes, Roundhouse was always so funny. Being theater kids and chorus kids when we were younger, Roundhouse was really big on us. And fun fact, there was a VHS tape that Chris used to have.
I have one thing to say. Ed McMahon.
Yeah, exactly. There's this one episode of Roundhouse that we'll always quote about family, and one of the actors is playing a version of Ed McMahon. He calls himself Ed McMahon, and yeah, that's always the classic. He goes, "Yes, this is Ed McMahon, America's Family Suits."
This is what completely now American Family.
Fabulous. Yes, waiter, where's my martini? Always so good. But yeah, Roundhouse was always enjoyable. I mean, the dad on the recliner. I always wanted a recliner like that.
Yeah, motorized recliner.
Yep. What was it in that one episode that they actually had like the fridge on the
Yes.
side where you could get drinks and stuff like that?
Yep.
Ren and Stimpy. So very interesting show. I was not really allowed to watch it, but the good cutoff is that I was allowed to watch Rocko's Modern Life, and well, of course we'll talk about that at a later time. But that was always cool because I liked the fact that Rocco's humor I thought was better than Ren and Stimpy's. It still was gross out, but it was like there were like certain things that were funny about it.
It was less gross out while still being gross out.
Yes. And Ren and Stimpy was one of the original three Nicktoons, along with Doug and Rugrats. So, what are your memories of Ren and Stimpy?
And to be, it was so supposed to be stupid that it was funny.
Yeah.
That's the main thing that Ren and Stimpy was.
Yeah.
I was a kid, I thought the gross out humor was fun.
Mm-hmm.
Now as an adult, though, I'm like, why did I watch that stuff?
Yeah. And also, it's kind of weird also when you think about the original creator, Ren and Stimpy. He's not the best person in the world.
No, he's not.
We took a water break in unison. And then, of course, to cap off the night, Are You Afraid of the Dark? The legendary anthology series, much like Tales from the Crypt before it, and Twilight Zone, and then Goosebumps, and so on and so forth.
In the Alfred Hitchcock Presents.
Yes, of course, yes. Are You Afraid of the Dark was really cool. Always a favorite. I always liked... we actually watched a couple episodes before we did this. We watched The Tale of the Shiny Red Bicycle. What was it? The Nightly Neighbors we watched? Yep. And then we watched a couple JonTron videos talking about Laughing in the Dark, The Phantom Cab, and then, of course, the music one. Oh my god, the radio.
The dark music.
Yeah, the dark music. All great episodes. Are You Afraid of the Dark? Oh my god. I remember we had a VHS tape at my dad's. And it was like this weird, video, to open it up, and it was all black and white, and you see this first person's perspective of all this weird stuff, and then you see this girl, she's waking up, and she's going to her bedroom door to open it because she thinks something's out there, and she thinks it's terrifying. And then she opens the door, and then it's just, you see the first person view came from a dog, and she has a sigh of relief. And then the dog just says in a human voice, he's like, "Are you afraid of the dark?" And she screams and shuts the door. And it's this terrifying thing. As a kid, it creeped me the hell out. And yeah, like I always remember that. Some episodes definitely were scarier than others. I'll say that. Um, I already know what you think of Are You Afraid of the Dark, but feel free to tell people what you think of
Absolutely loved that show.
it. Yeah.
It's a very close. For my tops
Hmm.
would be a 1A and a 1B
Yeah, I get that.
with Are You Afraid of the Dark. It was an absolutely. It was when you're a kid.
Hmm.
That's what you want to see from scary
Yeah.
movies or cartoons or whatever.
And you know what the cool thing about it that I liked that Goosebumps didn't, like we talked about it earlier, like they actually like they talk about people like dying in Are You Afraid of the Dark, which they didn't do in Goosebumps, which was interesting. And that's what I thought was like a little bit more edgier about it. And the cool thing about it is like it was a good gateway for kids to get in horror. I
Yeah.
feel,
Yeah.
you know, like your Gremlins or Ernest Scared Stupid or there's quite a few movies that are actually good for that. So that's always a good thing. But yeah. So that was the initial lineup from August 15th, 92 to October 1st, 94. October 8th, 1994 to January 14th, 1995, changed up a little bit. And they started out with The Secret World of Alex Mack, which was a show about a girl played by Larissa Lanik, I think I remember her name was, who got sprayed with this chemical and gave her all these powers. She turned into a Capri Sun. Yeah. Yeah. Secret World of Alex Mack was interesting. It was enjoyable. I don't remember too much from it, but I do remember watching it. What are your
I
views
do.
on that?
I'm the same. I don't really remember. I just had a huge crush on her. But then I had a crush on most of the content.
Yeah, exactly.
At that point, but it was an enjoyable show. I did watch it.
Mm-hmm.
More, I did watch it as, religiously as I could. And
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Totally makes sense. And then after that, in the 8:30 slot was The Adventures of Pete and Pete. Classic show, always
Absolutely.
a favorite.
Yep.
Pete and Pete was always, I believe it started out as like bumpers, like very short
It was
videos.
like a 3-minute short.
Yeah, and then they turned it into a full series thing. So Pete and Pete, as a kid, I was into a little bit, but then as I got older and became a teenager and I started watching it, I was like, okay, yeah, this show is like really, really good. What are your memories of Pete and Pete?
Danny Tamborelli and his tattoo of Petunia.
Yeah, exactly.
I liked the bumpers, the 3-minute little shorts that they had, so I did start watching it eventually when it did become a series. It was always one of my, not my favorites, but I did like it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a big favorite for a lot of people. And I don't know, it's like, I know a lot of people back in the day that were watching were high schoolers and college kids, because you definitely watch it and like, okay, I get a high school kind of college vibe from this. But yeah, always a great show.
Artie.
Huh?
Artie.
Strongest man in the world. Yes. Always loved Artie. He was always a big favorite. And there were some other characters that were always enjoyable. Like, I always liked, oh my God, what was his name? Oh my God, one of the villains. Endless Mike. I always liked Endless Mike. Pit Sting was good too, but I always like, it was just like always funny how like each one of these villains had like a gimmick to them. Like, what was it? Open Face.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
They're like the Nick Arcade villains.
Yeah, exactly. And of course, we'll definitely talk about Nick Arcade and other game shows in the future too. That, oh my God, we'll have to have a whole episode on not only just Nick Arcade but game shows as a whole.
Yeah.
So
but especially Nick Gas.
Yeah, in general, yeah. As high schoolers, whenever I would come over to Chris's house and spend the night, we would leave it on Nick Gas and watch Rangers of the Hidden Temple and figure it out. And Nick Arcade wouldn't be on until 4 o'clock in the morning, but we would watch it. And we would usually switch between that and putting it back on regular Nick to watch Full House. But yeah, that was always enjoyable. In the 9 o'clock slot, Ren and Stimpy we talked about, and then Are You Afraid of the Dark at 9:30. And then starting January 21st, 1995 to February 24th, 1996, the only change was that Pete and Pete was replaced by a new show, another variety show, a classic variety show, and that would be All That. A great show. Definitely Saturday Night Live vibes for, younger viewers, which makes it even cooler when you consider that, Kenan Thompson now has tenure as the longest regular cast member on Saturday Night Live. He's been on the show for the past 22 years, which is crazy to think about, but it came full circle for him and All That. Tell me about your memories of
All That was the show.
Yeah.
Basically.
It really was All That.
Yeah.
And a bag of chips.
Yeah. The giant ear of corn.
Yep.
Lori Beth Denberg, Katrina Johnson,
Mm-hmm.
Cal Mitchell, Kenan Thompson, Alyssa Reyes,
Josh Server.
Josh Server.
And then even later when they brought in Amanda Bynes and Danny Tamborelli.
That was the cast.
Mm-hmm.
Once they brought in the new cast, it was nothing.
Yeah, I agree.
But if you talk about the original cast of All That, it was one of the funniest skit shows on Nickelodeon at the time.
I would say that after, even Amanda Bynes on the show was hilarious, and then after that, any other new cast members, I know Amanda Bynes and Danny Tamborelli kind of came on, and that was actually pretty funny. Now, do you have a favorite character from All That, or a favorite skit? Above
I have
all
a
the others?
couple.
Yeah, list them off.
When Amanda Bynes came, Ask Ashley. I loved Ask Ashley.
Mm-hmm.
Kenan with his everyday French with Pierre Escargot.
Yes.
Super Dude.
Super Dude was great.
With another Kenan sketch.
Yep.
And definitely Good Burger.
Yep. Cal was great.
Cal was great as Ed.
And Good Burger is also one of my favorite Nickelodeon movies.
It was a good movie.
There's so much I can say about that. If my buddy Truch listens to this, he already knows how we feel about Good Burger. Brother Reed, you have messed up my afro. It's a classic movie. It's just so many one-liners. You mess with Kurt, you go in the grinder.
Somebody brought me to the hospital. I think I broke my ass.
Yeah, dude, I was just about to bring up Abe Vigoda when you said that. Yeah, I remember when we first watched the movie. I had my dad first watch the movie, and my dad was like, "Is that Abe Vigoda?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And he goes, "Oh my god!" And then when he saw that part, he thought it was hilarious. But yeah.
But that was another Kenan Thompson,
Mm-hmm.
Cal Mitchell, Josh Server.
Yep. Yeah, a lot
Christy
of them.
Knowles.
Yep. I have so many different favorite characters on that show.
Lieutenant Dan.
Oh, yeah. I was about to say
Josh
Lieutenant
Server.
Dan. Yeah. Lieutenant Dan was a big favorite. Ishboo. Ishboo was, oh my God.
Coach Creighton.
Coach Creighton, yeah. You heathens? He would do that. Good. And of course, another Cal favorite, Repairman. Yeah, I always like man. You do a little maniacal laugh. But yeah, so many good characters, and of course, Lori Beth's vital information in the library,
Yes.
the librarian.
Yes.
Oh my God, too good. But yeah, there are so many other ones that we could list off that are just so good, and of course, Earboy.
Yes.
Earboy, Pizza Face, Katrina playing Ross Perot of all people. Kids nowadays, if they watched it, they're who the hell is Ross Perot? I'll be honest, Ross Perot is probably one of the biggest reasons why Clinton beat Bush, because, that was probably the closest we ever had to an independent, being in a race, in our lifetime anyway. Just because Ross Perot kind of took away a lot of Bush votes back in the day. And it's just Ross Perot, he would always talk like this, And
$4 billion.
yeah, $4 billion. But yeah, and then whenever in the skit, would always try to eat Pizza Face. But yeah, always good. And the musical guests were always good too.
Yes, they were always very
Mhm.
modern and
Yep.
Were-
TLC doing the theme was always cool too, which I always liked. So after all that, Ren and Stimpy and Are You Afraid of the Dark stayed the same. And then March 2nd, 1996 to July 27th, 1996, you got The Secret World of Alex Mack, all that. And then a very short-lived show called Space Cases. I've talked to you about that.
I never watched the show, so I can't give you anything.
Our buddy Matt was a big fan of it. It was like a bunch of teens that were living on a ship, going to school in space. And the main thing I remember is Zach the Black Ranger was on it. That's it. But yeah, other than that, I don't really remember too much of it. Adventures of Pete and Pete moved to the 9:30 slot, which is probably a good way to cap it off. So October 12th, 96 to February 8th, 1997. You had Space Cases on at 8:30, all that on at 9, Are You Afraid of the Dark on at 9:30. It seemed like they always had Are You Afraid of the Dark on at the later end of the night, because, if it's like later, the kids that probably started watching SNICK probably are going to bed, that kind of thing. But they did debut a new show, and it was the sitcom Kenan and Kel. Always liked it. Of course, that's where the whole thing about who loves orange soda the most was created.
Yes.
And we all know who does. Is it true?
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
And it's funny because I was always a big fan of orange. I liked orange soda. I liked orange juice. And then just being able to see that somebody, as a kid, seeing somebody, enjoy orange soda as much as Kel did, made me feel even better about liking orange soda as much as I did. So that was always cool. I liked that. You liked Kenan and Kel, I take it?
Of course I did.
Same.
You just got, it was a scripted, all that, basically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think it was actually a good way to kind of gauge how they would feel about a good program, because I think Kenan and Kel's show debuted before.
I believe so. Not much before, but I think like a year before.
Yeah, let me actually think, because I think Good Burger was released in 97 or 98.
I think so, yeah.
I could be wrong, but let me actually see here.
I have a feeling it was 96.
It wouldn't have been 96. It would have been too early. Oh, another thing I wanted to talk about. Do you remember the All That soundtrack album? They did like a soundtrack album, and they did that boy band Immature did that one song, and it had Kel. That. Oh my God. It was called Watch Me Do My Thing, and they actually have a part in the middle where Kel as Ed raps the middle of the song. I'm like, oh my God. I'll have you watch the music video.
Well, do you remember the episode where Kel was the special musical guest?
Yeah, that's the song. Yeah, Watch Me Do My Thing. It was Immature and Kel.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah. Yeah, it was 97. It got released in the summer of 97. So it was a good 6 months before. But yeah, always enjoyable. Chris had to just shoo away the dog. The dog was in the cat's litter box for some reason. Isabella, you stop that right now. Silly pup. Kenan and Kel was always enjoyable. I always liked the Thanksgiving episode. Do you remember that one where they try to put the lunch meat turkey on it, and Kel was like, it looks diseased. So February 15th of 97 to August 16th of 97. Kenan and Kel stuck around, but there were 3 shows that got shifted around. All that was in the 8:30 slot, and then 2 other shows were in the 9 and 9:30 slot, and those shows were, first off, The Mystery Files of Shelby Woo. Cool show. I liked it. Girl is...
Father's a detective.
Yeah, her father's a detective, and her grandfather was played by Pat Morita.
Yep.
So it was awesome, because I was like, oh my God, Mr. Miyagi's in a Nickelodeon show. But yeah, she was an intern for the police department, I remember. Yes. Yeah. And she would solve mysteries. It was a cool show. I know not a lot of people were big fans of it. Like,
No, I
did you
liked
like it?
I liked it.
Yeah, I did too. It was cool. A good detective show. And then 9:30, another big favorite of mine, Kablam. Kablam was
Kablam.
so good. Yeah, it was like just different animated segments, you know, Henry and June. And then, of course, my favorites were Sniz and Fondue, Angela Anaconda, before she got her own show, and they had it on ABC Family. And then, of course, Action League Now.
Oh, of course.
Action League Now was
But
amazing.
Angela Anaconda was...
It was
Oh
funny.
my God.
I thought it was funny.
I thought it was too.
Yeah. But yeah, Action League Now was always my favorite. Just because all the characters, like the mayor, like how he drove around, he had all the papers flying out of his car, and then the chief, and he would always say, blast! But yeah, that was really cool. Like, stop motion animation was like really, you know, big back then. So that's why I enjoyed that quite a bit. Did you have any big favorites on Kablam?
Definitely Action League Now. My favorite was the naked guy.
The Flash.
Yeah, the Flash.
She's super strong and super
Super
naked. Yep.
Yeah, Angela Anaconda was another favorite of mine. Sniz and Fondue.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much all of these skits that they had.
Do you remember the episode of Sniz and Fondue where they kept getting the vending machine toys and it was all spiders?
Yes.
Yes, I remember that one. That was a classic. Because they kept trying to get something else. Yeah. All right. So next up, the August 23rd to November 1st, 97 lineup. After a hiatus of a couple years, was Rugrats brought back. Now, I will say this. After the first few seasons of Rugrats, when they took a break, they came back. The animation was a little different. The voices were the same people, but they still sounded weird. And the music was different. There were only a couple episodes that revamped the Rugrats that got brought back that I liked. But I still have a place in my heart for the original couple seasons. I think it was the first 3 or first 4 seasons.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then they ended up bringing it back, and it just wasn't the same after that.
And then All Grown Up wasn't that much better.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. All that was after Rugrats, followed by Keenan and Kel. Like, Mystery Files of Shelby Woo didn't last on SNICK for too long. And then another new show. Oh, wait, no, not another new show. Kablam was on after Keenan and Kel. November 8th, 97 of the fall of 98. Rugrats, All That, Keenan and Kel. And another new show, The Journey of Alan Strange. Cool show. I liked it. You know, it didn't last for that long, though. It was about an alien, Alan, who, you know, tried to assimilate to life.
Well, he crash landed on Earth.
Yeah, exactly.
And he had to assimilate to
Mm-hmm.
life on Earth until he could get back to his own planet.
Yeah, it was a good show. Do you remember it?
I do.
Yeah.
I watched it. I liked it.
Yeah, there were a couple good episodes. I was listening to Big Orange Couch podcast the other day, and they were talking about the holiday episode, which was a cool one. That was a good one. I gotta get back on the journey of Alan Strange. That was a cool show. So the fall 98 to early 99, Rugrats, All That, Keenan and Kel, and Alan Strange got bumped off Saturday. I think they moved it over to Sundays after that. A TV show adaptation of the book series Animorphs. Animorphs was cool. I liked it when I first started. I'm a little bummed that it didn't really last that long.
I wasn't a big Animorphs fan. I didn't
No.
really remember the show.
Mhm. Yeah, I read the book, some of the books. But yeah, I definitely remember it, but I wish they did more with it. Early 99 to October 9th of 99, Rugrats, All That, Keenan and Kel, and Are You Afraid of the Dark came back. And now this is back when Are You Afraid of the Dark came back every couple years for another season.
Was this the new cast?
I think so.
When Gary's brother took over?
I think so. But it probably wasn't as good. Like, some of those
It
later
wasn't.
seasons
It
weren't as
wasn't.
good. The original first few seasons were, I think it was like through season 1 through 5, were pretty good. But after that, it wasn't as good. And we will leave it off of that because that was the end of 99. And then after that, they ended up doing the SNICK house, stuff like that,
And
which
Nick
wasn't as
Cannon.
great. Yeah, Nick Cannon. And I will say this, in the words of Dave Chappelle, fuck Nick Cannon. Like, I've never been a fan of his. I have
Neither
not.
have I mean, yeah, I watched the Nick Cannon show
Mhm.
because it was there.
Yeah.
And I mean, a couple things he
Mhm.
did were okay.
Mhm.
Like the London Bridge thing was funny, but I was never a big fan of Nick Cannon.
Mhm. But yeah, there were a couple other shows that were on throughout the years, like 100 Deeds Freddie McDowd. That was a cool show. Bully gets transformed into a dog, and he has to do 100 deeds to get turned back into a human. Amanda Show was cool.
That's where Drake Bell and Josh Peck got their start.
Yeah, exactly. And then there were other ones, like serious ones, like Caitlin's Way. There were Brothers Garcia, Taina, Nick Cannon Show, Cousin Skeeter, which was always cool. All Grown Up, which I thought as a special. I remember when they did the special. The special was good, but I don't think
Not as a
regular
series.
series was not as good. Amanda Show, the later years of SNICK, I thought Amanda Show was really good though.
Yeah, but she was better on all that, though.
I agree. I definitely agree.
Amanda Bynes was much better on all that.
Yeah,
I
agree.
think, but the Amanda Show was good.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, there was pretty much like a lineup of some of the stuff. Like we cut it off at 2000, just because we want to try to keep this podcast. Like, we're okay with like doing like 89 into 2000, that kind of thing, but we want to stick with the 90s theme. But yeah, were there any shows that I brought up that like you completely forgot about that you got reminded
Well,
of?
really, Animorphs.
Yeah.
I don't really remember that show at all.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know the premise of it.
Yeah, it's just a bunch of teenagers
Never
that
read
can
the
transform
book.
into animals. Yeah, there's like aliens involved and stuff like that too.
Not really. Space Cases. That was another one I never even heard of until we did our research.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really about it. All the other shows I watched or, knew of.
Yeah, I got that. Yeah. All right. So what do you think we should do? Do you want to do Dream Lineup first, or do you want to do our top?
We'll do our
five?
tops and then we'll do our Dream Lineup.
Okay, so if I have to pick, so of course, my number five, we're gonna go number one being the top, number five being like the end.
Mm-hmm.
I would say my number five out of all of these shows would actually have to be. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna let you go.
Okay.
Just because in that way I can kind of formulate what I'm gonna do here. So
my number five would probably be Pete and Pete.
okay.
Number four would be Keenan and Kel.
Mm-hmm.
Number three would be Clarissa.
Mm-hmm.
Now, my number two and my number one,
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of like a 1A and 1B.
Yeah, I remember you were telling me that.
It's Roundhouse
Mm-hmm.
is first, and then Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Okay.
Those are my top two. Roundhouse being the top, and then Are You Afraid of the Dark? But they were so close.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, it's like a 1A and a 1B.
So you said Roundhouse, Are You Afraid
Roundhouse,
of the Dark?
Are You Afraid of the Dark? Clarissa, Keenan and Kel. No, sorry, all that.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And
Pete and Pete. Okay. Yep. Like, as much as I kind of feel the same with you when it comes to choosing between Keenan and Kel and all that. Keenan and Kel was good, but it's not on my top five. All that.
Actually, I think all that was on my four.
Oh,
not
okay.
Keenan and Kel.
Yeah. If anything, I would say my number five would have to be. It's so weird because these are all like great shows.
Yeah.
That I have in mind. But this is just the way it is. Number five, I do have to go with Roundhouse. And that's just because all these are great, but I have to go with that. Number four would be Kablam, just because I loved Kablam so much. So that was number four. Number three would be Are You Afraid of the Dark? And it's funny because a lot of these are very close. Number 2 would be Pete and Pete, and then number 1 would be All That. Just because I'm still such a big fan of the comedy variety shows. Like I watch SNL all the time. But yeah, that would be mine. And it's just like a matter of, kind of like how I go with that. Now, since you went first with your top 5, I'll go first with my dream lineup. So my dream lineup, and it's surprisingly all 4 of my shows are part of my top 5. I would do Kablam on at 8, All That on at 8:30, Pete and Pete on at 9, and then Are You Afraid of the Dark at 9:30.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, mine is kind of the old lineup of SNICK when it first came out with, because I'd have Clarissa on at 8, All That at 8:30, then probably All That at 9, then Are You Afraid of the Dark at 9:30.
Oh, okay. So you said Clarissa Explains It All at 8.
Yeah.
What'd you say for 8:30?
What did I say for 8:30? Clarissa.
Oh yeah, you said Roundhouse at 8:30.
Roundhouse
That's right.
at
And then
8:30.
All That.
Then All That.
And then Are You Afraid of the
Yeah.
Dark? So you're just subbing out Ren and Stimpy for All That.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, that's actually a good mixture. Like, I mean, it's like, I feel like it's good to kind of have, like, it's weird because, like, back then, Are You Afraid of the Dark was the only, like, serious one. I remember, like, when they started coming out with, like, Animorphs and Caitlin's Way and stuff. Those are more dramatic. But
Caitlin's Way, I loved Caitlin's Way.
But, yeah, it just seems like it was more comedy. Like, Adventures of Pete and Pete had a certain kind of comedy to it.
It did.
But that's why I would have it like the reason why I had mine with Kablam and all that. You want to have like the laugh out loud stuff, and then the Adventures of Pete and Pete, which is like kind of like a different kind of humor to kind of level you out, and then go to Are You Afraid of the Dark? But yeah, that was a pretty good lineup on there, and of course there were other good shows that they had.
There's different lineups that we could mix together. That would be great. But
Is there a show that was not traditionally on SNICK that you would have put on SNICK?
Probably Caitlin's Way.
Well, that was originally on SNICK, I believe. When it started, or maybe it wasn't, and then they moved it on there.
Oh man, Hey Dude, but it was
Hey Dude was over by that point. Yeah,
because I loved Hey Dude. But if it was still going on, I would have put that on SNICK.
It's kind of interesting because I honestly don't know what I would put. I mean, maybe like when you really think about it, there were only 2 Nicktoons that were really
maybe Doug.
Yeah, but I mean, Doug was. I remember, what was it? Wouldn't they have Doug on weekday nights? And then they would have Rugrats on after it or something. Yeah. Rugrats would be on at 7:30. Doug would be on at 7. And then they would go back. And that was back when they had started Nick at Night at like 8.
Back when it was Full House on for 3 hours.
Yeah. I mean, if it was around back then, like before, because I know it ended before SNICK started. Honestly, I would probably, like, in the summertime, I would put Salute Your Shorts on SNICK.
I totally forgot about Salute Your Shorts.
Yep. And then you could put Welcome Freshmen on during the fall.
Yeah.
Because it's like, well, that's when school starts. But yeah. So yeah, we, did you have any other last things that you wanted to talk about regarding SNICK?
No, it was the best thing for teenagers or kids and teens that didn't, go out on Saturday nights.
Yeah. And I think one thing we'll definitely have to do when we get more into this podcast is do like watch-alongs of like a SNICK broadcast and with some classic commercials. Oh, Don't mind the yawning. It's been a long day, but yeah, we definitely have plans for this podcast, and it won't just be me and Chris. There will be other people on it at times. I was talking to a couple buddies of mine about coming on to do a future episode about like Beavis and Butthead, or do some other stuff. I mean, we got to talk about wrestling at some point, so that'll be
And
nice.
my wife will probably make an appearance.
Yes, exactly. You know, Chris's wife Penny is very knowledgeable when it comes to Disney stuff. The Disney Renaissance, as they call it, back in the '90s, that was a big one. We'll definitely have to talk about that. We've been talking about video games, so me and Chris plan on streaming some classic video games. Also doing unique food recipes. And of course, the first thing that Chris brought up, I brought up the banana pudding pizza from Doug. Chris brought up the Twinkie Wiener sandwich from UHF, the classic Weird Al comedy. That's definitely something we'll have to do. And we'll definitely be talking about different things from that time period. We may stretch it into the late 80s or the early 2000s, but we'll definitely end up doing that. Saturday mornings, that's going to be a big thing we'll talk about as well. We definitely want to talk about kind of positive things on the podcast, as opposed to like any like negative events or anything like that. Yeah, it's just a good way for us 90s kids to kind of get lost in our nostalgia and kind of think of simpler times. Like, I mean, that's the reason why we're called the 90s nuts. You're going to get a little bit of salty, you're going to get a little bit of sweet, you're going to get a whole bunch of mixed. So, hell, that's something that we could probably use for a merch idea.
Yeah.
Like a can of nuts, and like just have a whole bunch of like different things from the 90s, like the lettering, and maybe like the classic what was it, the cup design, with the blue and everything. Yeah, that'd be cool. But yeah, if you guys have anything that you'd like to talk to us about, give us feedback on the episodes, think of any ideas, just give any kind of input. Like I said, feel free to email us 90snutspodcast@gmail.com, and then you can look for us on X at, I believe it was at 90s Nuts Podcast. Let me just make sure I have that correct again. I want to make sure I have it correct. Yep, 90s Nuts Podcast. So 90s Nuts Podcast @gmail.com and at 90s Nuts Podcast on X. So again, I'm Lance.
I'm Chris.
And this has been the 90s Nuts Podcast, and we will talk to you guys later.